Hey cuties! It is time to take a look at the new-ish Psionic Armor, the latest armor power set added to City of Heroes Homecoming. To do that, I have Terrabellum. She is a Seismic Blast and Psionic Armor Sentinel. When I was trying to decide which archetype that I wanted to use, I went through pretty much all of them. I did a Scrapper, I did a Stalker, I did a Brute. I didn't do a Tanker, but only because I figured if those other archetypes can survive with Psionic Armor, then a tank will be just fine. But none of those characters were really interesting to me. I had been wanting to give Seismic Blast a chance because I really hadn't played it, and I was trying to decide between Blaster, Defender, Corruptor, but then I realized that Sentinels can have both Seismic Blast and Psionic Armor, and then just the idea of a character being able to manipulate the earth with her mind just seemed really interesting. But anyways, let's get into it. So if you haven't played Seismic Blast before, it's basically like a builder-spender kind of power set, with, I guess, a little bit of a twist. You have your powers that build up stacks of seismic pressure, and then you have powers that can use that seismic pressure to have additional effects. So I think kind of the main one is Stalagmite, which normally does not do very much damage. But with seismic pressure, it does quite a bit of damage. And then there's another one that I ended up getting rid of. It's called Rock Shards, and it's a cone attack. And when you have seismic pressure, it does more damage. The cone becomes enormous, and it does some really good knockdown. I like the attack. The problem is that I just found that I was not using it. So that's Seismic Blast, and as far as Psionic Armor goes, when I first started hearing about this set, a lot of people were comparing it to Dark Armor, and I sort of get that comparison, but in my mind it's closer to something like Bio Armor, in the sense that it is a much more active set. So if you like a power set that, has some abilities that are, on cooldown, that you can use proactively or reactively, this is probably going to be a good set for you. It's layered in terms of its defense with a small d. It's got some resistance, it's got regeneration, it's got healing, it's got control, it's got a smidge of defense, not much, but it's enough to get you started if you're going to be building towards defense. Psionic Wall, which is your basic smashing lethal resistance toggle that also has psionic resistance. You have Psionic Shield, and this is your fire, cold, energy, negative energy, toxic resistance toggle that also comes with some endurance drain resistance. Mass Presence, this is a stealth power, gives you a little bit of defense for melee, ranged, and AoE. Impenetrable Mind, this is your status protection. Gives you resistance to psionic, disorient, hold, mobilize, sleep, fear, confuse, knockback. Devour Psyche, now this is where things start to get interesting. So this is a power that does some regeneration, healing, and recovery debuff on enemies, and gives you regeneration and recovery. It's a cone, so it's a bit like Drained Psyche, but it's a cone attack. It's a very large cone, so don't worry too much about, not being able to hit things with it. It's pretty easy to use, and it does something really interesting, and I don't know if I've seen another power that does this. So when you hit a bunch of enemies, you get stacks of Devour Psyche boosting your regeneration, whatever. But to keep that stack rolling, you only need to hit one target. So if you get a stack of 5 or 6 or whatever, and they're starting to fall off, right? Like this, the buff is starting to blink. You just need to hit one target, and it will refresh all of the stacks that you have. So it makes it really easy to keep that buff going between groups. You know, if you're down to the last enemy, just hit them with Devour Psyche, and you're ready for the next group. Not that I play that well, you know, I'm going to forget constantly. But it's really good power. The Psychokinetic Barrier, so this is an absorb shield, a plus maximum hit points, regeneration, and resistance to regeneration, recovery, recharge, and endurance debuffs. Great power. But these are on pretty fast recharges, so use them liberally. Aura of Madness. So this is, you can think like Aura of Confusion. It's very strange. The control that it does is confuse, disorient, sleep, hold, fear. And it's basically like a chance of one of those effects happening. So, you know, when you get a bunch of enemies in range, some of them will be confused, some of them will get disoriented, some of them will be put to sleep, some of them will be held, some of them will be feared. And any enemy that is not controlled will take like a trivial amount of damage. I don't think it's really worth slotting for damage. And then, depending on which control is applied to that enemy, they get like various debuffs. It can do a regeneration debuff for up to 4 seconds after a target was stunned. It can do a 7% resistance debuff for 4 seconds after a target was asleep. A 7% defense debuff for 4 seconds if the target was held. A 7% negative to hit for 4 seconds if the target was terrorized. Then it does a negative 13% reduction in damage strength to any target that is not under control effects. And also the damage over time. All of the controls are basically like magnitude 2. And then all of that is not fueled by your endurance, but it's fueled by your hit points. So sort of, I guess, similar to Oppressive Gloom, which is, I guess, where, you know, some people are getting the comparison to Dark Armor. Memento Mori. So this is like your tier 9 power, and similar to what they did with other tier 9 powers, it kind of has dual functions. You can either use this as a self-res, or you can use it to heal yourself. So if you use it as a self-res, it does a magnitude 30 terrorize on targets around you, and, you know, of course, reses you. If you are not unconscious, you can basically use it like as a heal. You'll get a boost to your maximum hit points for 30 seconds. You're going to get a pretty big heal on the first target that it hits, and then a smaller heal on any other target. And then a precognition. So this is just an auto that gives you some melee ranged AoE and psionic defense. I believe it also does, it also gives you some perception and some defense debuff resistance. As far as her build goes, so Seismic Blast, I normally don't like doing this, like just putting a slot in a power and using it to basically be a mule for a power set, but I kind of had to because I wanted this fire and cold resistance from one of the winter sets. So I've just got a couple superior Winter's Bite in Shatter. Entomb, this is getting 6 of the superior opportunity strikes. Upthrust, this is getting 3 superior Frozen Blast, and then a few damage procs from Shield Breaker, Touch of Lady Grey, and Explosive Strike. Seismic Force is getting 3 of the Gaussians, including, of course, the chance for build-up. Gravestone is getting 6 of the superior Sentinel's Ward. Stalagmite is getting 6 Thunder Strikes. Meteor is getting the other 3 superior Frozen Blast, and then 3 of the Overwhelming Force, and that is including the conversion for knockback to knockdown. Meteor, I love this power. It does a tremendous amount of knockback, which can be hilarious, but if you want to mitigate that, do a knockback to knockdown conversion. So that's what I've done. Psychic Wall is getting Unbreakable Guard, 4 of them. Psionic Shield, another 4 Unbreakable Guard. Masked Presence, Luck of the Gambler, Global Recharge, and Shield Wall unique. Impenetrable Mind, another 4 Unbreakable Guard. Devourer Psyche, this is getting 4 new Minas. Psychokinetic Barrier, this is getting 5 Preventative Medicine, including the Absorb proc. Aura of Madness, this is getting 3 Endoplasm Exposures for boost to accuracy and mez, and doing that basically allows me to buff all the effects that it has. So, because it does stun, hold, sleep, terrorize, fear, whatever, using the endoplasms allows you to boost all of those effects. I was trying some different procs, and I don't know, it just seemed like it was better to just lean into the control more than anything else. Memento Mori is getting 4 Preventative Medicine. Precognition is getting 2 Luck of the Gamblers, including the Global Recharge, and a Reactive Defenses Scaling Damage Resistance. Sprint, Celerity, Stealth on Demand. Health and Stamina, Standard Issue. Fly, 2 Winter's Gift with the Slow Resistance. And we are taking Hasten. Tough, we have Aegis, Psionic, and Status Resistance. Steadfast Protection, Resistance and plus Defense. Gladiator's Armor unique for plus Defense. Impervious Skin, Status Resistance and Regeneration. And Impervium Armor, Psionic Resistance. Weave is getting Luck of the Gambler, Global Recharge, and Kismet 2-hit. And I'm taking Mass Hypnosis from Psionic Mastery and Psychic Shockwave with 5 Armageddons, including the Fire Damage proc. And Link Mines is getting Look of the Gambler, Global Recharge, and 2 Membrane Exposures for Recharge and 2-hit buffs. And that is everything for her build. So let's get a mission. I've only fought these guys once before, the Awakened. And they were kind of scary, so we're gonna see how well this goes. Incarnates. And that reminds me, full disclosure, I am playing this on the Brainstorm server because I've not been able to decide on what I want to do for my hybrid. I'm going to be trying out the Control hybrid. But, as you can see, I've got a few different ones. Assault, and then the melee ones. But it just seemed to me that because this character does quite a bit of control, maybe it would be worth leaning into that. And so the Control hybrid, gives you a chance for an extra magnitude and extra damage to targets that are, being controlled. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Whether or not I can afford to run something like Assault or Control, or whether or not I need the additional survivability from melee, who knows. As far as Alpha goes, I'm doing Vigor, and all of these are just set to Tier 3, because honestly that's usually where I leave most characters. It's very rare that I actually take one of these to Tier 4. I'll usually do that for the hybrid or the Destiny, but the other ones, very often I just leave them at Tier 3. So Alpha, I'm going Vigor, because this will give me more healing, more accuracy, and introduction. For Interface, I'm doing Reactive. For Judgment, I'm doing Mighty, which I am really loving on this character. Doing a meteor into a mighty judgment is just fantastic. Destiny Ageless Radial for the debuff resistance. Storm Elemental for absolutely no reason. I just pick something. It doesn't matter. And then Hybrid, of course. We're going to be trying the Control Partial Core. And as far as like the damage that you get from Assault, I'm going to be honest. Like, whenever I have used Assault, I cannot tell the difference in terms of like time to kill or time to arrest. Like it to me, like as far as what I can perceive, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. So I just don't find the Assault Radial to be very exciting. But, you know, the Control one, you get like the Magnitude procs and the damage procs, and, you know, there's like a little floater that tells you when it happened. So that to me is more satisfying than, just some extra damage. So even if, Assault is technically more damage in the long run, it just doesn't seem to make enough of a difference to really catch my interest. So that's what we're doing. So one annoying thing about look at how spread out these guys are. I think I will put up my barrier and I'll get link vines going. And then I'm just going to hit these guys and see who follows them. Okay, we got a few. Let's go. Meteor. Mighty. Like, that's a pretty nice 1-2 punch, if I do say so. Oh, they do the spasm death, like the what are those mutant guys in Pretoria? I forget. The ghouls. That's funny. Let's grab a few more guys. And you can see, like, this is a pretty big cone. Like I said. I guess, I don't know, like, how much debuff these guys do, to be honest. What's happening? Psionic Fury? I don't know what that is. Yeah, like, I don't know what these enemies all do. I mean, obviously, they're all, like, ranged psychic. It looks like we have a little bit of psionic melee going. Okay, yeah, see, I let my, my Devour Psyche fall off, but it's not a big deal. You can see, like, as I use my two single target attacks, the stalagmite will light up, and that just means that you can use it for extreme damage. let's try to get the rest of these guys. They seem to be heavily ranged, so they don't want to be in melee. Oh, so I should actually probably talk a bit more about seismic pressure. It's like a builder spender, but with a twist, and what I mean by that is that you build these stacks of seismic pressure. So let's just get a guy. Oh, that's convenient. Oh, he's gonna die too quick. There's another one. Okay, so now we built up seismic pressure until we got a bunch of stacks, and now we have seismic shockwaves. And this effect that's on the ground, these are the seismic shockwaves, and they do knockdown. So it kind of gives you the option to add a little bit more damage mitigation with it, you know, doing knockdown, which can be pretty effective considering that my Aura of Madness is also doing a bunch of control. And so you can use it instead of, you know, just spending it. Let's get the seismic shockwaves going. Let's get our regeneration going. Let's get our shield up. So now I've got seismic shockwaves going, and you can see they're gonna start getting knocked down. And so if I want, I can just, you know, choose to not spend those shockwaves and get that extra damage mitigation from the knockdown. I could use it on Stalagmite to get extreme damage, or I could use it on Seismic Force, and that will halt the shockwaves and then immediately decrease the cooldown of your other Seismic Blast powers. Oops, I used... Generally, you don't want to use Stalagmite unless you have the Seismic shockwaves. Because it does do disorient, but its base damage without seismic shockwaves is really small. Like, I'll hit this guy, you know, it's less than you know, my other two single target powers, significantly less. But when I have it, it does more than those other two powers. So I kind of like the fact that it's a builder spender, but it gives you some options depending on what the situation is. You know, if you are going up against, you know, like a single hard target, you're probably going to want to use Stalagmite. But if you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies and you're worried about survivability, maybe don't spend the shockwaves and use the knockdown. Sorry, I am I'm talking too much and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So let's see. So that guy way back there, let's see how close we need to get. I will queue up Devour Psyche. Yeah, like it's a pretty good cone, like as far as cones go. For, you know, a lot of groups, I don't think that you have to worry about being able to hit anything. Okay, everyone calm down. Let's do my favorite combo. I timed that poorly. I like to try to get it so that the her fist comes down right as the meteor is landing. But gosh, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 5 bags of popcorn, Meteor is a 6-bagger. I know that the that delay between when you activate the power and when the meteor comes down can be kind of rough, especially on a team. But you can also utilize it, you know? Like, I can just call down a meteor on these guys and then run in and do my drained psyche and then immediately get hit. And then I can follow up with my psychic shockwave, up thrust. So we're taking some damage. Do we have a boss somewhere? I don't think so. Yeah, I am really loving this character. Like the power sets, I think, work perfectly for her concept. I guess that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, you know, I've got hundreds of characters. A lot of them don't see the light of day because, like, I just had an idea of, like, power sets that I wanted to try, but I couldn't come up with, like, a concept that I loved. And if I don't have a good concept of, you know, who that character is, I just don't take any interest in it, and you know, I just can't stick with it. So one thing that I'm noticing, so I'm running at +3 × 5, and when I did a mission with the warriors, they had an absurd amount of bosses in the mission, and I kind of wonder if, like, that's a bug, because that, so far I don't think that I've run into any bosses with these awakened. let's try to round up some guys. Oh wow, that's that's like 2 groups. Okay, that might have been a bad choice. Nothing that a meteor and the mighty can't solve. God, that is so satisfying. I do think that the visuals for Seismic Blast they can be a bit much, especially up thrust. I'll use it on this guy. This rock that appears, that's way too much. That is so obscuring. It does not need to it does not need to eclipse the screen. Okay, oh, that's a boss. Got it. I was like, God, I'm taking some hits. So, well, I'll use a Memento Mori, and we'll heal up. You got that fast recharging meteor. So I've got a few stacks of Drained Psyche going, and again, as long as I just hit one target, so you know, if I'm just up against this boss, once they start to fade off, I can just hit that boss again, and I will keep all my stacks going. It's really nice. I wish that more powers work like that. Frazzled? I am afraid? What? Oh, there's a bunch of people that didn't show up to the party. Hi. You didn't want to come to the party, so I'm gonna bring the party to you. And I let him fall off again. Yeah, I'm not very good at maintaining that power. I think most of the time I just use it as part of my opening. Oh geez, where can I go? How about right here? They've got psychic whips. Can I get a psychic whip, please? See, that would have made psychic melee far more interesting for me. I don't really like the visuals for that set, except for Mass Levitate. That's fantastic. Oops. Let's just hit a bunch of these guys. doing a lot of pulling because you can see just how like spread out these groups are. It's kind of obnoxious, to be honest. Everyone needs to just gather together in an orderly fashion so I can slaughter them. Is that so much to ask for? Imminence. Wow. That's crazy looking. Maybe I can pull him. No? Oh yeah, here we go. Whoa. What's this about? I don't like when enemies do unfamiliar things. Well, I have no idea what's going on. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. He's gonna die anyways. Oh my god, I've completely forgot about my Sentinel ability. Oh shit, how embarrassing. And I should have used it on that boss. Get a little bit of extra damage. Oh well. I'm a terrible Sentinel. I do tend to remember to use it more on teams, not so much solo. Well, we still haven't found Acadia? I don't know. So I still have an opportunity to use my Sentinel ability. I was a little too slow on refreshing Devar Psyche. Also, I don't know why, I have a tendency to chase enemies down even though I don't need to. I don't know why that is. I have nothing but ranged attacks. It's another eminence, okay. Here, we'll put that on you. Refresh it. think I have a fly debuff on me. There she is. What is Frazzle? Yeah, there's all these things that they're doing. I have no idea. Mind Siphon, Frazzle. Mind Siphon. The more under its control you fall, eventually you'll succumb and be confused for 10 seconds. Okay, so it's a confusion, but I have a resistance to that, so... Mindstorm? See? Did you see that? I just ran over to this guy, even though I could have just attacked him with my ranged powers. I don't know, I guess... Again, I just did it again. Like, I don't need to be in melee range. Although I guess my melee defense is better than my ranged defense, so I'm gonna use that as my excuse. Yeah, as far as like her defenses go, it's nothing special. Like she's, I don't know, like around, well, I'll take a look after. Nice. Okay, yeah, so her defenses, nothing to write home about. She's at, smashing 57, lethal 46, fire cold 63, energy negative 47, psionic she's capped, toxic 30, defense-wise, ranged 38, melee. This doesn't seem right. Do I have something else going on? Yeah, this is just showing all the normal stuff. Oh, maybe because I'm in stealth. Like, normally this would be suppressed in combat, so if I drop that off... Yeah, so I was getting like the full 8%, but in combat I'd just be getting 4. So, add 4% to these values. So, like, range defense, 25, melee, 34, AoE defense, 20. Like, it's not a lot, but with the other stuff that she has going on between control and regeneration and healing, and absorb, it's enough. It gets the job done. So yeah, that is Terrabellum, my Seismic Blast, Psionic Armor Sentinel. And if you made it all the way to the very end, I thank you so much for watching. You are wonderful. and I hope you have a lovely day.